Hey, Disney fans, planners, and reluctant visitors. I'm Becky, and this is TouringPlans Teaches. This week is Genie 101, Intro to Genie. Everything you'll need to know about this cool new tool for your next vacation. Let's get things started by defining our terms so we all know what we're talking about, because there's a lot of new words and names for things in this era of Genie. Let's start with Genie. Genie is sort of like the new skin to the Disney app that you're going to use while you're on vacation. It has lots of information there for you, like posted wait times, and it has a new functionality where Genie can plan your day for you. You give it your interests, and it gives you a plan for your day with real-time updates, supposedly based on your interests and allowing you to avoid the crowds. We'll talk more about how that might or might not work later. Next, we've got Genie Plus. So Genie Plus is the new way to pay your way around standby lines at Walt Disney World. If you remember FastPass or FastPass Plus, those were the free ways to do essentially the same thing. We'll talk about how much Genie Plus costs, what it lets you do later in this episode. Next, we have Lightning Lanes. Lightning Lanes are the actual physical queue you'll stand in instead of the standby queue when you're waiting for a ride. So if you use Genie Plus, you don't go in the standby line, you go in the lightning lane, because that's so much more fun. And then finally, we have individual lightning lane access. This is a specific set of rides, generally the top headliners, that don't qualify for Genie Plus. You can't skip the standby wait that way. You have to pay for them individually on top of Genie Plus or instead of Genie Plus. And so in order to use the Lightning Lane for those rides, you have to purchase individual Lightning Lane access. Whew! Glad we got all that out of the way. Let's start things off by talking about Genie. Remember, Genie's the free part of this whole service, and it's part of the Disney app that you'll need to download on your phone before your next vacation. There's two halves to Genie. The first is the tip board. The tip board is going to show you all of the current posted wait times at any attraction at any park. So you can scroll through, look around, see what your wait times might be like. It also handily shows you the next available Genie Plus or individual Lightning Lane return time should you feel that posted wait time's too high and you wouldn't want to wait in that line. It also has entertainment schedules, everything you might need to know about what's happening in the park on that day. The other half of Genie is called My Day. Now, you should be able to see some information here about any reservations you might have, including your Genie Plus and individual Lightning Lane reservations. But you can also use Disney's new free service that is supposed to plan your day for you. How does that work? You'll scroll through and choose some interests that you might have. Maybe you have some really big princess fans, or you're going to Hollywood Studios and you want a Star Wars day only. You feed it all of that information. Then what Disney promises is that it'll plan your entire day for you, step by step, give you cool things to do that meet your interests and help you avoid the crowds. Now, here at TouringPlans, if you know us, you know we love data and we have to test things out. So we've tested this free Genie service a lot. And if you look up anything on Twitter related to these free Genie plans, there are whole Twitter accounts dedicated to showing just how ridiculous their suggestions can get. Typically, it prioritizes sending you to second-tier entertainment or attractions to get you away from the crowds over what your interests actually are. It also has a history of upselling you onto experiences that might cost you a little bit more money, like building a lightsaber or a droid while you're at Hollywood Studios. I've personally not been impressed with the free Genie service. I know a lot of Disney fans aren't either. But if you're looking for a really relaxed way to tour, you don't particularly care about experiencing the headliners or other popular attractions, or having a very, very, very slow-paced day, then that Genie service might be for you. Otherwise, plan your own day. Don't let Genie do it for you. All right, now we're going to talk about the really fun stuff, and that's Genie Plus. Remember, Genie Plus is the way to pay your way around the standby waits at most attractions at Disney World. And in order to do that, you're going to have to pay for the opportunity and the privilege of avoiding those waits. So if you remember back to FastPass Plus, the mechanics of this are going to seem pretty familiar, but if you never used that, it's going to be a whole new learning curve. So there's two ways to purchase Genie Plus. The first is to pre-purchase it for the entire length of your vacation for every member in your traveling party as part of your vacation before you arrive at Walt Disney World. So you can do that, but you're locked into paying for the entire length of your vacation. It's going to be about $16 per day per person in order to use Genie Plus. Or you can purchase it on a day-to-day basis. So if I'm taking my family to Disney World and we know the one day we're going to be at Magic Kingdom, it's going to be pretty crowded, I might choose to pay for it for the 4 members of my family for just that day. Again, still $16 a day, but I don't have to do it every single day of my vacation. The one caveat there is that if I'm only purchasing it for one day, I can't do it before I arrive. I can only purchase it on or after midnight of the day I'm going to be in the park. So I could stay up late the night before, I could wake up early the day we're actually going to the park. That's how I'm going to purchase it. So we do all of that from the app. Don't worry, Disney's going to push it on you however they can. You're not going to miss the ability to purchase Genie Plus. So let's say I've purchased Genie Plus and now I want to use it to avoid these standby waits. So in order to start skipping those waits, I'm going to have to wake up bright and early before 7 a.m. on my park day if I want to get the most use out of it. That's because at 7 a.m., Disney turns on the functionality for everyone that's using Genie Plus that day to make their very first reservation. So you can do one of two things at 7 a.m. Regardless of whether you're staying on-site or off-site, doesn't matter. You qualify at 7 a.m. You can make a reservation for an attraction where you have your park reservation that day. So if my park reservation is Magic Kingdom, at 7 a.m. I can make a Magic Kingdom reservation. Or I could say that I have park hoppers and I'm planning on hopping to Hollywood Studios later in the afternoon. I don't have to make a Magic Kingdom reservation even if my park reservation is there. I can make a Hollywood Studios Genie Plus reservation and Disney will kick it all the way out to 2 p.m. or later so that I can only ride that ride after I'm eligible to park hop. That's one thing that Genie Plus does do nicely. So at 7 a.m., I'm going to pick the attraction that I want to skip the standby wait for. As I scroll through, I see there's various different options, lots of attractions, and I see sort of a return time that I can expect. So if I'm scrolling through and I see Slinky Dog Dash is eligible as a Genie Plus reservation at 7 a.m., it says return time is 4 p.m. Yikes, that's later. We'll talk about pluses and minuses of late return times here in a little bit, but I can select it, I can confirm it. Now, once I have that reservation, I can go to Slinky Dog Dash at 4 p.m. or for an hour after that, so from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m., and get in the lightning lane and not have to wait in that lengthy afternoon standby wait at Slinky Dog Dash, which we all know is miserable, especially if you have kids. So, cool. I just scored my first Genie Plus reservation. Now, how do we go about the rest of our day? This is where things start to get really confusing, so stick with me. There are two ways you're eligible for your next Genie Plus reservation. Let's stick with our example that I am going to Hollywood Studios for the day, and at 7 a.m., I booked my 4 p.m. Slinky Dog Dash reservation. I get to the park right when it opens. Let's say today Hollywood Studios opens at 9 a.m. I'm not eligible to make another Genie Plus reservation until 2 hours after the park opens. So I got up really early at 7 a.m. to grab my first reservation. I can't make another one until 11 a.m. because that's 2 hours after the park opens. That kind of stinks. I've got a 4-hour window where I'm not making any more reservations, but it is what it is. I still get to skip the wait at Slinky Dog Dash later this afternoon. So that's your first one, 2 hours after the park opens. Let's say at 11 a.m. I make another reservation, and it's for Millennium Falcon at 7 p.m. Now, my 2-hour clock resets right when I make that next reservation. So 11 a.m., I make another reservation. My 2-hour clock starts. At 1 p.m., I can make another one. So for your first one of the day, 2 hours after the park opens. After that, 2 hours after you've made your previous reservation. There's one way to get around this, and that's you can also unlock a new reservation when you use the reservation you booked most recently. So let's say instead of going and making a Slinky Dog reservation right at 7 a.m., instead at 7 a.m. I book Toy Story Mania for for 9:15. I get a really awesome return time. So 7 a.m., I make a 9 a.m. reservation for Toy Story Mania. At 9 a.m., the park opens. At 9:15, I'm on my merry little way to Toy Story Mania. I skip whatever standby wait exists. I go in the lightning lane. As soon as I tap in, I can now make another Genie Plus reservation. So I don't have to wait till 11. I get to make one right then and there. If Slinky Dog's still available, hint, it won't be, I can make one at 9:15 as soon as I tap in. When I tap in and make that new one, then my 2-hour clock starts, or whenever I use that reservation. So that's your 2 ways that you can get a new Genie Plus reservation. 2 hours after you made your most recent one, or after you tap into your most recent one. Lots of confusing rules, but it's possible. And again, like my very first example earlier in this section, I can also park hop. So I don't have to make all of my reservations in Magic Kingdom. If I'm starting the day in Magic Kingdom, I don't even have to make any Genie Plus reservations in Magic Kingdom. I can do them all in my second park for the day, or I can do a little mix of both. Super flexible in that way. So that's one nice part of Genie Plus. Lots of rules, but as you go throughout your day, you can use those reservations and skip those standby waits, which is the whole point of Genie Plus. All right, so we've got one more Genie functionality to talk about today, and that's individual lightning lane access. So we talked all about Genie Plus and the millions of rules that surround that. Individual lightning lane access is slightly different and slightly easier. You can only purchase up to 2 individual lightning lane access per day. So I could do Space Mountain and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. I could do Rise of the Resistance and Flight of Passage the same day, but I can't do more than 2. It's limited. There's also only a certain set of attractions that offer individual lightning lane access. These attractions won't be available for Genie Plus. You have to pay for them separately. Those are at Animal Kingdom, Flight of Passage and Expedition Everest, at Epcot, Frozen Ever After and Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, at Hollywood Studios, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and Rise of the Resistance, and at Magic Kingdom, Space Mountain and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. So you can do 2 in the same park, 2 in different parks, just 1, avoid them altogether. Choice is up to you. But you're going to pay individually for them. So for example, Rise of the Resistance right now is $15 just to skip that one line per person. Space Mountain, on the other hand, during weekdays, $7. Now, Disney has said there can be some variable pricing here. So far, we've only seen prices be different on weekdays and weekends, but Disney reserves the right to change prices as they see fit, so make sure you check before you purchase. The other way individual lightning lanes are different than Genie Plus is Genie Plus, you can only choose the next available return time. So if the next available return time for Pirates of the Caribbean is 11 a.m., but I actually don't want to ride it till the afternoon, I'm out of luck. I can only choose 11 a.m. Individual lightning lanes, they're a little nicer because you're paying more to skip one ride, so you get to choose the time of all of the available return times for the rest of the day. So right first thing in the morning, I could book Frozen Ever After for 6:30 p.m., even if there's earlier available return times. So I'm going to be paying separately for these, but I get a little bit more flexibility. Now, another thing that's different than Genie Plus for individual lightning lanes is Genie Plus, there's no on-site advantage. Everyone gets to book right at 7 a.m., their first reservation. Individual lightning lanes are really different. If you're staying on-site at a Disney hotel, you get to book individual lightning lanes at 7 a.m. There's no waiting rule. It doesn't overlap with your ability to make Genie Plus reservations. It doesn't start a timer. I can purchase 2 individual lightning lanes and make a Genie Plus reservation as quick as I want right at 7 a.m. But if I'm off-site, I'm not eligible to make any of those individual lightning lane purchases until the park opens. So this is very different, and it means that a lot of availability is gone, especially on higher crowd level days for these big headliners. For example, if I'm staying off-site, even on a medium crowd level day, sometimes low crowd level days, and I'm getting to Hollywood Studios at 9 a.m. when the park opens, there's almost no way I'm going to be able to purchase my way around Rise of the Resistance. Disney's on-site guests have already scooped all of those up and given Disney all of their money, in addition to paying to stay on site to skip the wait there. So I'm either going to have to wait standby, or I'm going to have to hope a miracle happens and someone cancels the reservation and I can scoop it up or something similar. That's the problem with individual lightning lanes. If you're staying off site, you can't do them at 7 a.m. If you're staying on site, yay, good news for you, less competition, but still pretty tight, especially on those high crowd level days. And we'll get into more information about sort of what those availability curves look like for each of these attractions on different crowd levels in a future lesson. But individual lightning lanes, Genie Plus, 2 different ways you can pay 2 different times to skip the standby waits at many attractions at Walt Disney World. Now, I know that was a lot of information to digest in just a short period of time, and really, we've just scratched the surface of everything Genie has to offer and what you're going to need to know about it to make the most use of your money if you choose to purchase Genie Plus or individual lightning lanes. So that's why we've got a few more videos coming out that will soon be available on Genie. Next week, we'll have Genie 201, and so we'll get a little bit deeper into how much time you can expect to save, what might or might not be available throughout the day, how much time you'll save at each attraction by using Genie Plus. We'll go over all of that data. Great for data nerds. Also, if you just want to make sure that you're not wasting your Genie Plus reservations, it's going to be a good video for you. Then we're going to get into our Genie 300 series. The first one I'm going to call What's Stacking Precious? If you're a Lord of the Rings fan, that's a shout out to you. Stacking is all about using Genie Plus reservations and saving them for the afternoon or evening, but booking them throughout the day so you can have a really fast-paced second half of your day at Walt Disney World. But there's lots of strategies and rules that you need to know in order to do that. So that's going to get its whole own video. We'll also do a 302 with other special cases, questions we get asked frequently, etc., etc. So those are all coming in the next couple weeks, and you can keep an eye out on this channel. We've also got Genie Plus at Disneyland. Now, it's not as popular at Disneyland because it's more a park for locals. There's not as many huge headliners with awful waits that you'll want to skip. But we'll do a series that talks about the differences between Disneyland and Disney World for Genie, because there are some and quite a bit different functionality and strategy that you'll want to know. In the meantime, if you're waiting for those videos and you have a question that you need answered, you can drop it in the comments or email me at beckyg@touringplans.com. You can also follow me on Instagram at raisingminimes. Send me a message. I'm happy to help you out. Thanks for joining us on Touring Plans Teaches, and we'll see you next time.